Good morning, Excellencies, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for joining us today at the launch event of ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program. Today's event is a kick-off event as part of a series of collaboration between the ASEAN Foundation and Microsoft. My name is Naila Shiva, and I will be the master of ceremony for today's session. The digital economy in ASEAN has the potential to contribute mainly to the gross domestic product. Cyber risks, on the other hand, could undermine the development of the digital economy, preventing the region from realizing its full potential. Besides, the rising geopolitical importance of the region makes it susceptible to cyber attacks. The extensive use of digital means for communicating an increasing amount of essential information also raises the likelihood of the attack. This issue is also further magnified by the lack of awareness on cyber resilience. Therefore, in hopes of tackling the emerging cybersecurity issue, the ASEAN Foundation, in partnership with Microsoft, will be implementing the ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program. This program aims to enhance the capacities of ASEAN youth, specifically job seekers and fresh graduates, as well as ASEAN teachers, non-profit trainers, and educators across Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam to build a stronger foundation of the digital ecosystem for the ASEAN community on cybersecurity. We will soon begin the launch event with a few opening remarks from our Executive Director and two distinguished guests, followed by a roundtable discussion with the theme, Cybersecurity in ASEAN, how COVID-19 is shaping the ever-evolving digital landscape and the importance of cybersecurity skilling for youths. Throughout the event, we will discuss the importance of upskilling the ASEAN youth to close the cybersecurity skills gap and to help in raising awareness on cybersecurity and related threats that are further accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Without further ado, please allow me to invite Dr. Yang Mi Eng, the Executive Director of ASEAN Foundation, to deliver her opening remark.
Thank you, Naila. Mr. Raymond Kilop, Assistant Director of ASEAN for Political Security Community, ASEAN Secretariat, Mr. Abbas Kudrati, APEC Chief Cybersecurity Advisor of Microsoft, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the launch event of ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program, our newest program in partnerships with Microsoft that aims to raise cybersecurity awareness and provide people in ASEAN with the much needed skill to protect themselves from cyber attacks. Along with the rise of ASEAN's interconnected region as well as our digital economy, the risk of cyber threats are also increasing. With our society shifting more towards digitalization and as we become more reliant with digital technologies in our everyday life, having a secure cyberspace should be a priority for all of us. If not prevented, cyber risk could impede trust and resilience and prevent us from realizing our full growth potential. Ladies and gentlemen, the evolution of cyber attacks has also been accelerated with the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic, which further escalates the region's cybersecurity challenges and generates even greater complexity in the future. In Malaysia, for example, according to Interpol's ASEAN Cybersecurity Assessment 2021 report, 4 out of 10 internet users in Malaysia had been victims of internet scams, and 9 out of 10 of them had lost money. In Thailand, 8.4 million workers are estimated to have lost their jobs due to COVID-19, and desperation to earn income has led many of them fall for recruitment scams. Meanwhile, in Philippines, cases reported on online scam has increased 37% in 2020, following the declaration of the pandemic compared to the previous year. The borderless nature of cybercrime means that cybercriminals are agile, exploring new technologies as well as connecting for cooperating amongst themselves in ways that we have never imagined before. And these challenges are not addressed properly. The impact of cyber threats can be far-reaching and devastating for all of us. ASEAN must build the next wave of cybersecurity capability by cultivating the future generation, young professionals and educators, so they have the ability to address these emerging threats. Given the magnitude and complexity of the region's challenges and its unique context, we must embrace innovative approach based on greater cohesion and a collective use of resources to achieve a cyber-resilient future. In hopes of tackling the emerging cybersecurity issue, ASEAN Foundation, in partnerships with Microsoft, is implementing the ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program to enhance the capacities of the ASEAN teachers, NGOs or CSOs, facilitators, educators, youth job seekers, and fresh graduates as trainers across Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Cambodia to build a healthier and more resilient digital ecosystem for ASEAN community. In today's event, we also aim to generate public awareness and engage ASEAN youth, ASEAN government and policymakers, think tanks, and civil society organizations to join our effort in combating cybercrimes. Together, let's make today's discussion our first step to address the issue of cybersecurity so that we can support the advancement of ASEAN region. I look forward to our roundtable discussion later on cybersecurity in ASEAN and how COVID-19 is shaping our digital landscape with exceptional speakers from all around the region. Let me quickly introduce their name. Our speaker today is Group Captain Amon Chomchoy from National Cybersecurity Agency of Thailand, Mr. Abbas Kudrati from Microsoft, and last but not least, Dr. Yi Wang or Estelle from Continental Automotive Singapore. So stay tuned with us and I will be back soon with the roundtable session. See you.
Thank you, Dr. Yang, for your wonderful opening remarks. I agree that we cannot belittle the devastating impact of cyber threats, and thus we must address this issue properly by collaborative means. Next, it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Raymond Jose Kilop, Assistant Director of ASEAN for Political Security Community, who will also welcome our guests and participants.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me, just to check.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Kilop.
Thank you. Dr. Yang, the Executive Director of the ASEAN Foundation, Mr. Abbas of Microsoft, and all participants, excellencies who are in the room, good morning. And it's a pleasure to be joining this group today. Foremost, allow me to congratulate the ASEAN Foundation and Microsoft for spearheading this activity, which to my mind could not have come at a more opportune time. It's very timely, so to speak. And so today, this morning, let me just share 3 quick points for everyone. First is indeed enhancing awareness on cybersecurity among the youth is a very worthwhile undertaking. As I said, it could not have come in a more opportune time. The youth today not only are very tech savvy. If you want to learn something about technology, you just ask the young people, and for one reason or another, they know about it. Well, it took you some time to learn about it. let's face it, they are very much tech savvy. Their lives are very much in the digital world, so much so that they are called a digital warrior. And if we used to play around on the streets, kids now used to just, I mean, are so used to just playing their games. And I say this as a father of an 11-year-old preteen who spends much of her time uh, on the online world, from online classes because of the pandemic to playing games, including those that connect me with her across the web through online activities such as Scrabble, for example. But beyond their being tech savvy is really the need to make them aware of the risks associated with cyber domain, so that to a certain extent they could safely and securely leverage the advantages and opportunities available in this new domain. That is my first point. My second point is indeed, cybersecurity is something that is not limited to a particular sector. In ASEAN's lingo, we consider cybersecurity as a cross-cutting issue, something that cuts across the political, security, economic, and socio-cultural pillars of ASEAN's community building. The recognition by ASEAN that cybersecurity is a cross-cutting issue is contributing to the realization that if cybersecurity challenges were to be addressed, the concerted efforts of all stakeholders, as we keep on saying, have to be harnessed. To emphasize, while cybersecurity may have the word security in it, and people have the tendency to think that it is purely in the domain of the political security community, the economic realm, the socio-cultural realm are equally important. This is particularly because there is, as we have noted already, the increasing reliance on technology as we have the digital economy increasing. And given the impact of technology in our social lives, technology is really with us now. It's part and parcel of our consciousness. It's part and parcel of our being. My last point is this. But beyond acknowledging that cybersecurity is multidimensional, that it cuts across the three pillars of the ASEAN community, political, economic, and social aspects, it is equally important to realize that it is multi-level. It transcends various levels of security, from the personal, individual, which is our individual selves, to the sense of security of the group, our peers, in our office, in our schools, in our work, to that of our country. And that is the reason why a lot of our nations are also having cybersecurity policies. To the region, that is the reason why it is a key concern of ASEAN at the moment, and even at the global level. And this is the reason why at the level of the UN, you have two specialized groups working on it. The UN group of governmental experts on cybersecurity and the open-ended working group on cybersecurity. This multi-level nature of cybersecurity is something I believe needs to be increasingly recognized. And with those 3 points, I hope that you will consider them as you go through your discussions this morning. Thank you very much, and I hope you will have a very productive roundtable discussion later on.
Thank you, Mr. Kilop, for your insightful speech. The 3 points highlighted by Mr. Kilop emphasize the critical issue of enhancing cybersecurity skills among youth. And now, let's move on to our last opening speaker, who will also join us at the roundtable discussion later. I would like to invite Mr. Abbas Kudrati, APAC Chief Cybersecurity Advisor of Microsoft. Mr. Kudrati, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can I have the slide on the screen, please? Move to the next slide. Morning, everyone. So my name is Abbas Kudrati, and I'm Microsoft Asia's Chief Cybersecurity Advisor. So what I want to start with is the demand of skill by 2023. And as you can see on the screen, the technological skills is 60% higher in demand as compared to physical and manual work, right? And which shows that how the world is moving off and getting more and more technological focus. If you go to the next screen, next slide, which very well translate to what we see as a worldwide threat. So Microsoft collects almost 24 trillion signals on a daily basis, and worldwide it's 98 million devices are impacted with number of malwares and ransomware. And Indonesia is no different. If you look at Indonesia number below, it shows that 2.9 million devices are encountered with that ransomware and malware. Which goes back to my next point, which is on the next slide. That let's look at cyber trends, what we see in Asia. So last year, between April and May 2021, we saw the top 5 countries in Asia have the largest and the highest number of increased cyber attack. Starting from Japan had a 40% increase, Singapore had a 30%, Indonesia 25%, and Malaysia 22%, followed by Taiwan as a 17% increase. If you look at the industry, utilities, internet, managed service provider, and software vendor were the top most targeted industry in that fashion. Which also goes to another survey point which we see from another report called Impreva. It shows that 46% of the DDoS attack has been also increased on the Asian region. If you go to the next slide, which very well brings to the challenge which we are talking about today, right? Cybersecurity skill shortage. That's going to be a biggest issue within Asian countries. So skill, budget, and organization empathy. They are the topmost cybersecurity challenge in APEC. If you look at the lack of workforce and the budget, the research conducted by Sophos on TRA, they reveal that 62% of the companies are struggling to recruit the people necessary with the skills, cybersecurity skills. And 59% of the business stated their cybersecurity budget is below than what it needs. Which very well brings to my next point. We go to the next slide. This is an overall picture of the world. We are not talking about only APEC has a cybersecurity skill set. Globally, we are facing this particular challenge. Within Asia Pacific itself is 2.4 million people will be required with a technological skill. So we need to work together in that fashion. If you go to the next slide. So the skills are going to be continuously in demand. 149 million tech job expected by 2025, especially in the area of software development. The new technologies are like artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are constantly going to be in demand as we move forward, including malware and ransomware. I have some more statistics, but if you can go and skip to the next slide. This shows just an overall picture in terms of look at the numbers. This is really astonishing number. 6.2 million job opening in cloud technology by 2022, which is this year we are talking about, right? 71% are from the science and technology. So what can we do together? If you go to the next slide quickly, and I will leave this slide deck with you later on so you can go in detail, right? We definitely need to work urgently to address this cybersecurity skill set. One reason is attacks are targeting to our privacy. Attacks are targeting towards the national security. They are attacking our daily lives. It is the individual who are being targeted, apart from, of course, companies in target, but individuals are targeted with a ransomware and a phishing email and what we call password spray kind of an attack, where they are harvesting, the attackers are harvesting all the leaked credential on the internet and targeting individual. And as shown on the screen, only 3% of students are attending a proper credential on computer and information science, and they are not doing a specialization in cybersecurity. So we are going to face a huge crunch, and this is where Microsoft is helping in many countries. If you go to the next slide, including the Asian country, we have taken a number of initiatives. For example, in 2021, last year, we launched a cybersecurity skilling program, which targeted almost 1 lakh learners in 2022. This was targeted in India. In many other countries also, we have something similar. In Australia also, we have a very similar part of that. In Singapore, we announced as advocate partner for Singapore Cyber Safe Partnership Program. Last year in June, we also launched Asia Pacific Public Sector Cybersecurity Executive Council in Singapore, in which we meet together and discuss the bigger problem like what we are talking about today. So there is definitely a need for a public-private partnership where we can share the intelligence together and even the threat intel and continue to build up that shortage of skill set. We go to the next slide for me. So there are some more initiative on that, but let's keep to that and go to the next slide. Just want to highlight some of the other initiative. As you can see, in India, we targeted 1 lakh learners to upskill the skills. There are certain other initiative what you see on the right hand side, including the SAP India and Microsoft. We launched a tech skilling program. We even close to 3 million people who has acquired the digital skill during pandemic 19. Almost 3 million we train those people so that they can be ready to face what's happening during the pandemic time, right? If you go to the next slide. So this is the kind of a journey we have created. Cybersecurity is for everyone, not only for the IT people, but non-IT folks also, business people also can learn it. And that's where we divide our skill sets and curriculum into various role base. So depending upon where you want to focus on, could be the cloud, could be the software as a service, you can start your cybersecurity journey. And these are all learning portals available completely free for everyone. For example, learning.microsoft.com, right? These are some of the portals available where anyone can go online and start upskilling themselves. So if we go to the next slide, to conclude, there's definitely we can work together. We can together create that kind of a pipeline of cybersecurity professionals. There are initiatives taken by Microsoft in a number of other countries, including the Asian Foundation program, which we are launching. The only way to tackle is working together with the public-private and not limit the cybersecurity skills people to join only from the STEM program. That's my parting line. You don't need to have all penetration tester or all cybersecurity qualified and trained people in your team. You can hire anyone who has a right mindset and an attitude. Technology can be taught. I always like this one line which saying, I read it somewhere on the internet. It talks about that it's an attitude, not the aptitude, which determines your altitude. So hire the people with the right attitude and train them with a partnership like this Microsoft. They can learn the technology and help you fill that particular cybersecurity skill gap, which may need it today in our countries. With that, I thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to participate with you all in the roundtable to discuss further on that. Over to you, MC.
Thank you, Mr. Kudrati, for your opening remarks. It was very insightful to know that the Asia-Pacific region has the biggest cybersecurity skills gap comparing to other regions in the world. From this, we can conclude that it is really important to close this gap to have a safer digital ecosystem that can also contribute to our economy. Now, before we enter the next session on our schedule, which is the roundtable discussion, I would like to invite all of our speakers for a photo-taking session to commemorate this meaningful event. To all of our speakers, please make sure that your camera is turned on. Now, please show us your wonderful smile. Okay, if everyone is ready, I will start the countdown now. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Just to be safe, let's take another shot. Get ready, everyone. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Thank you. Now, let us welcome back Dr. Yang Mi Eng, the Executive Director of ASEAN Foundation, who will facilitate the roundtable discussion with the theme Cybersecurity in ASEAN, how COVID-19 is shaping the ever-evolving digital landscape, and the importance of cybersecurity skilling for youth. Dr. Yang, whenever you are ready, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Naila. Thank you for all the speakers and also opening and keynote speaks. It's really opened all our eyes. And I like what Mr. Kudrati was mentioning. We have to work together. Public-private partnerships, 3 Ps, PPPs. So let's do that together. And I would like to welcome all of you to our main focus of today, which is the roundtable discussion on cybersecurity in ASEAN, how COVID-19 is shaping the ever-evolving digital landscape and the importance of cybersecurity scaling for youth. So our focus are pretty much on our future generations, the change maker. So I will throw the challenge back to you today. Yeah? So please pay attention to the discussion because it is really something that you have to take on after this. So we trust our youth to drive the change, and I do hope that today's sessions will benefit all of you. So the session will discuss the importance of upskilling the ASEAN youth to close the cybersecurity skill gap and also to help raise awareness on cybersecurity and related threats that are evolving and changing at a significant pace due to the pandemic COVID-19 pandemic. So the roundtable session will also involve resource person from ASEAN Secretariat, private organizations and government to cover different perspectives around the topics. So before I jump into the discussion, let me have an honor here to introduce our three honorable speakers or resource persons. Let me start with Group Captain Amon Chomchoy, Deputy Secretary General of Office of the National Cybersecurity Agency. Captain Amon is the Deputy Secretary of the Thailand side, or who is actually also taking care of the National Cybersecurity Agency, NCSA. So he graduated from the United States Air Force Academy and used to serve in Royal Thai Air Force. He is deeply concerned about people's data safety and about creating a safe space on the internet to maximize its potential to benefit the people. So he believes that the safety of the internet is in the hand of all of us. So it's not in the hand of anyone else, but all of us here. So therefore, proper education and socialization must be enforced more thoroughly. With NCSA, Captain Amon develops programs such as classes on cybersecurity at Thailand National Cyber Academy. So over 2,000 government and critical infrastructure professionals will be trained in basic and advanced cybersecurity throughout these classes. So there is our Captain Amon. So we will see you later after this. So our second speaker, our panel is Mr. Abbas Kudrati, APAC Chief Cybersecurity Advisor of Microsoft. Mr. Abbas Kudrati oversees Microsoft projects and operations in Australia, India, and the ASEAN region. So he provides thought leadership, strategic guidance on the development of Microsoft security products and services, and deep customer and partner involvement. So he works with government, critical infrastructure organizations, and businesses to help them safeguard corporate data and manage risk while taking advantage of today's intelligence, cloud, and intelligent age environment. So it's a very technical person, I think so, Mr. Abbas. Later we will dig more into your thoughts. And our last but not least, third resource person today is Dr. Yi Wang or Estelle. Dr. Yi Wang is actually Senior Manager Security and Privacy at Continental Automotive Singapore. Dr. Wang was awarded Top 30 Women in Cybersecurity ASEAN in 2021 by the Public Security Society. So from 2019, she gave lectures at the Singapore Institute of Technology, bringing her expertise to the Singapore cybersecurity ecosystem. With over 46 worldwide top journals, conference papers, and 11 industrial patents, Dr. Wang is actively involved in society. So currently, she is leading a team focusing on automotive advanced research projects consultant for business units and security operations. So put a hand to welcome three of our speakers. And I would like to also give you some background, two very important concepts before we zoom in into our discussion. First is cyber attack. What is cyber attack? cyber attack is commonly defined as an attempt to gain illegal access to a computer or computer system to cause damage or harm. But only thinking only computers or computer system, it's in traditional sense, is very limiting. So the reality is that a cyber attack can occur on almost any modern digital devices. So the impact can range from an inconvenience for individual to global economic and social disruptions. So an attacker can use people, computers, phones, applications, messages, and system processes to carry out the attack. So the attack will be on individuals, organizations, institutions, and governments. They all can be the victims. So not only people at home. So second concept, which is very important, is cybersecurity. This is the core of today. Cybersecurity, also known as digital security, it refers to the practice of protecting your digital information, devices, and assets. So that includes your personal information, accounts, files, photos, and even your money. I think the money is the main one here. So let me now zoom into start our discussion. So our first questions will go to Mr. Abbas Kudrati. This is the question: what are the common characteristics of cybercrime and how can it impact our daily lives? Why is it so destructive?
Absolutely. Let me provide a couple of definition from my side. So thanks for the great introduction. I have a few other roles as well which I play. I'm also a part-time professor. I teach in a couple of university cybersecurity, and I do a lot of students mentorship as well. And I write the course material similar to what our captain does. I create cybersecurity course materials and I write books as well. So if you haven't read my latest book, Threat Hunting on the Cloud, that's the last book I released, and I'm releasing few more in next few weeks. So definition of cyber, why we are calling it cyber security, why you are not calling it security, why we are not calling it IT security, and why we are not calling information security. But I have been old enough to pass through all those definitions. I started my career in IT, then I became an IT security officer, then I became an information security officer, and now I'm a cyber security officer. What is cyber? Let's define that first in connection to definition what you gave, Doctor. My definition of cyber security is stay protected while connected. Stay protected while connected is my definition of cyber security. Now, what are these various characteristics of cybercrime, right? Cybercrimes are targeting three areas, which we all know: CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. As you said correctly, right? They are targeting any kind of device in a digital world. If you have a handheld device, or could be a small sensor, could be cameras, or could be a refrigerator. Everything, if it is connected, it is targetable. That's why I say stay protected while connected. So characteristics, how it can harm you? Well, it can bring down the system. We have you have a factory running in, and you have the infrastructure and machineries running. If they can get hold of your OT, operation technologies, and environment from remotely, they can shut down the things. They can stop the power grid. They can stop the petroleum crude oil things which we saw last year, Colonial Pipeline being attacked, right, by human operated ransomware. We saw JB Meat Company, they've been targeted for which are manufacturing the meat. So big industry, small industry, they're targeting individual as well. If you are a old person and you are not very tech savvy, they send you a malicious link by phishing email. You click on it link, and your hard disk is encrypted. They take away your data. And sometimes they may not even harm your machine, as compared to what you said, that is destruction. They are not interested in destroying your hardware. They just take away the data and they sell it in the dark web, because they can make good money out of your credit card information, out of your banking detail, out of your private information, and a medical information as well. So they can come back and victimize you, saying that pay the ransom or else I'm going to sell the data. So it is impacting everyone, every individual, young or old, rich or poor, a politician or a normal person. big company, small company, to everyone it is they are targeting. They don't differentiate among the people, saying that you, since you are a big political person, I'm not going to target you. They combine their attackers are combining their workforce together, and there's something we call it nation state attack, right? They together target from the country to country level as well. So it is impacting our daily life, and I can go on and share you a number of examples in that case how they're impacting. It's a serious issue, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kudrati. Actually, I really like what you say. Stay protected while connected. So no matter what you do, if you are connected, you are always at risk. So, so this is actually a very good remedy, just one prescription. So I think, I mean that today also we try not to create too much of fear to people, because if everyone decided to unplug, to disconnect, then the world will really be in a difficult situations. Cannot do shopping, cannot pay anything, cannot make friends, So this is really challenging. So
they say, the safest computer is the one which is not connected to anything and it's locked.
Oh my God! I don't know how you want to do that.
So you can't do that, right? You cannot do that.
You can't do that. Even if you're watching movie now, it's also through Netflix. We no longer rarely use DVD right now. So how to be disconnected? So I'm not sure how. So maybe somebody here can tell us. They create their own small community, only on their family can share their network. I'm not sure how they can be safe. So we will just go for a second question. We'll come back again to you, Mr. Kudrati, on more tips on how to be safe. So the second questions will go to Group Captain Amon. Captain, so from the research of GWI shows that people aged 16 and 24 across Southeast Asia spent roughly 60% of their waking time online. So within the same age group, 99.6% use social media every month. So on this note, can you tell us what are some of the most common cybersecurity threats youth are prone to? And what do you think are the necessary skills and the knowledge on cybersecurity that youth must possess to protect themselves from the threats? So, Captain, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. That would be very interesting. And to share this, I would like to share the different perspective on the cyber threats that have some problem with our youth today. The first one, I think, is the cyberbullying. It's one of the situation that we have seen a lot in Thailand, because right now everyone want to share their life, their perspective, and almost everything that happened to their life online. And sometimes it might not be all fun and game if someone just turn that information against them. And for quite a few of young people, they might have bad information, and then someone use it to bully them online. And we have seen that happening. And the sign of the young people when they got bullied, usually they'll be very quiet and depressed. So it's up to the parents or the teacher to detect that and explain to them on how to get out of such a situation. So besides the hacking that might be going on with their account, that's another threat from that so-called friend is cyberbullying. Okay, and also another perspective I'd like to share regarding our younger generation is that right now they're all in the information disorder age. For example, the information they consume might be the misinformation, malinformation, or disinformation, which the degree of it is that for the misinformation, usually it's just false information but they were spread without any intention to harm anyone. For example, in Thailand, one of the most important health advice, if you are in Thailand, you will hear that lemonade and soda will cure and protect you from cancers. That's one of the example of misinformation that's spread around. Okay, but what we're concerned with the teenager in Thailand right now is the disinformation. It means that someone just fabricate the news, or maybe they just use the old news and turn that into something in different to turn the different perception for those who consume it. Okay, so and most of the disinformation usually is false, but people just fabricate it to gain attention or gain some advantage or political advantage. And for the young people, if they don't check for the source of the information, they might be misleading to comment on it, keep sharing it, and be part of the scheme for the people that would like to spread the disinformation. And the last one is the more information. More is for malice. It means that sometimes it contains more truth or more fact, but they add more context to intend to harm, to destroy the opposition, and this one is most difficult to counter because it's based on fact. So sometimes it's difficult to deny. So what we're trying to do with our younger generation is that we need to inform them that to be a good cyber citizen, they not only have to look out for hackers and how to prevent their account from being hacked, but also the way they consume information. They have to think about is it truthful, or is it helpful, or is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And of course, is it kind to spread and share the information? And that turned into the acronym THINK. So that's what I would like to share for this first round. Is that for younger generation that quite lacking in this kind of perception of the and there are quite a few of them being used by some people with hidden agenda. Okay, yeah, that's the first thing I'd like to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Amon. I think what Captain Amon says is very true. That thinker, I mean the critical thinkings, mature thinkings, because now things are happening so fast. Informations are flowing so fast. I think people are having very short thinking time. So I myself is one of the culprit also. Sometimes I receive some message and I get panic and then I share it. So I think even with this age, we are doing the same issue, having the same challenge. So let alone the young people. So I think the way is to really do some, training for them to have more responsible thinking, responsible user of cyber world. So because right now the cyberbullying is definitely one of the biggest issues, and top up with this mental illness of people now. I mean, this can actually escalate to very serious implications if we share and if we bully people in the cyber world. So I think we will come back to more tips on how to be a good cyber users later. Maybe some of our panel speakers here, Mr. Kudrati and all that, can give us some tips later to bring back for the young people. So the third questions now, I will go to Dr. Estelle. So according to the Global Cybersecurity Index, GCI, there is still a large cybersecurity development gap among the ASEAN member states. So the 10 countries, a big, huge gap. So what do you think are the root cause of these issues, and what is the best approach to close the gap? So Dr. Wang, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Yang, for the nice invitations here. It is my pleasure to share a little bit my thoughts from the industry perspectives. Whatever I was working on the corporate, more like my background, we are working on mobility work. So that's really a good questions. Global Cybersecurity Index, they are looking at the legal measures, technical measures, organization measures, capacity development, and cooperations from these 5 aspects where they will summarize and give the index. So from the last year's ITU report, I think Singapore and Malaysia, they are very top, some scores among the ASEAN countries. We're looking at Indonesia's or Thailand in other countries. I do agree we have big gaps here. But unfortunately, I only can share a bit how Singapore will do, because I'm more close in Singapore regions, where we established the Cybersecurity Authority in 2017, and we have also organized a lot of communities, for example, Division 0, and this has been tied together with the global security community. They are free, and currently we attract 500 people join, and all the webinars and the trainings is totally free for the member. One part is the public sectors. Once we establish CSA, they put a lot of efforts, grants, and also this activities to actively promote this activity, this cybersecurity concept. And the other side is more like a volunteer basis community, they are coming up. And then from the private sectors, the talent pool we are required is very huge. So that's why we have these training programs attached with the industrial to train the next talent pool for prepare for the companies. Especially cybersecurity, we so-called is the middle career path switch program. One part of the key area is the cybersecurity. So this will help, the society or the country to improve their so-called GCI, these activities. So I'm not aware about how about Indonesia or other countries. Yeah, maybe, around this panel can share a little bit thoughts here. So I hope that from Singapore perspective, we can more be contribute back, maybe through Dr. Yang's this kind of foundation platforms to share our experiences back to the other ASEAN countries. We're helping each other, and we towards those increasing this index.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. You have pointed out something very important here, which is to share with other countries in the AMS. I mean that we are no longer living in the isolated world. If we are safe, our neighbor are not safe. We more or less later we will be unsafe also. So we have to look after the neighbors, all the ASEAN member states. So that's why we need people like organization like Microsoft, like Mr. Kudrati, your side, to really come and support us and put everything into the package, and then we will work with you. We will disperse and distribute the knowledge to all the ASEAN community, So definitely we will knock on Dr. Yuang's and Mr. Kudrati's door very soon to come up with some campaigns, like what Dr. Yuan mentioned. Campaigns and awareness is the way to go. The more people know about it, the better we are more protected. So I have one question that meant for all of you. So this is quite relevant to all of us right now. So the COVID-19 has also forced us to become more reliant on remote working. So we work from home. So the method poses a new challenge to our workplace. So if so, how has your company or institution adapted the regulation to mitigate cyber attacks? Actually, I wanted to ask you this question also because I want to get some tips from you so that I can also manage my organization well. Because we are all working from home right now. So maybe we pass this first comment to Captain Amon. Captain?
Okay. Well, because of the pandemic, we have to work from home in a lot of companies and organizations. And in Thailand, it happened almost overnight. Everyone have to learn how to work from their home. For example, they have to learn how to use the VPN, virtual private network, and also access some sensitive information from their home. And before we educate them, there are a lot of cases happen because people take their work or the notebook from home to their home, and then quite a few of them they are not very good at protecting themselves. There's a lot of incident that's happening even now from the unsecured desktop or notebooks and the account that have high privilege. For example, the system administrator account or network engineer account. When those accounts are compromised, then usually the company or the organization will have problem with ransomware. That's what we have seen happening. So the advice we have to give to them is that if you have provided your employees with remote connection, you have to use multi-factor authentication. Okay, zero trust would be better, but right now it's still quite difficult. Okay, but multi-factor authentication is the must. It means that instead of just relying on the password, you have to use more than that. Maybe you can use the Microsoft Authenticator or some other something better than just the password. That's what we need. Okay, and also updating the system, for example, the server. And not just for that, you also need to update every device that you own, not just the PC, but also the mobile phones and everything else that it is said that you need to update, then you must update. It's no longer an option. Okay. And also another thing is that right now we have a lot of meeting online. So if it's the secret or classified or sensitive meeting, then when you choose to do the online meeting, it must be secure as well. For example, you must be using the online meeting platform that will be secure. And also you need to, if people want to join, they have to ask your permission first so that when the link got into the wrong hand, then at least you know who will be there. Okay, so there's a lot of things that we need to tell people in the personal level and as an organization that have to help each other to stay protected while connected as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Captain Amon. How about Mr. Kurati? What is your view on this tips?
Yeah. See, working from home has definitely made it challenge for a lot of our IT and security folks who are working in industry, right? So in old days, the security was behind the company firewall. It was within their own building. Now the perimeter is gone. They are working from home, so perimeter has expanded. They are using multiple devices, mobile, their own devices, company managed devices. The network which they are connecting at home may not be that secure as the company network which you go and work, So that's the very first step. Use the basic security check. Check first your Wi-Fi. Don't keep it open, otherwise somebody sitting outside in your parking, try to connect your home network and goodbye. Everything, they own it. Starts from there, securing your own home Wi-Fi. Second, you have to be really, really vigilant. Now you have a responsibility apart from your security team or IT team in the company. You are holding the responsibility for maintaining the security of your data and the company data which they are giving you, trusting you with, right? So you need to be vigilant before clicking any of the malicious link or an unknown sender sending you something. Ask yourself question, do I know this person? It is an unknown person, that then I will not click on the link and check with my IT team or the security team in the company saying that can I open this or verify before I open it. Because number one target using phishing is a main target area. They are sending the phishing email. From there they ask you for your username and password. So a captain said multi-factor authentication, right? If you don't have an MFA, that's end of story. So start MFA from your home network itself, your Gmail, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your phone. Everything should have MFA. Of course, company as well. And start from your home itself. Educate your people to first bring the security for their home and the family, and then extend it and tell them the story that now you are the way you are securing your home network and personal networks and personal identification and social media, same policy applies for your office network as well. Use the same technology, multi-factor authentication, vigilant from the phishing point of view. Data, do not share the data, or understand what is the classification policy of your company. What kind of data is considered as a sensitive or a confidential according to my company policy? You cannot just say my credit card number to anyone, right? Because it's your credit card. Same thing applies for the company data. Use that common sense that before I share somebody with the sensitive data, I should encrypt it or zip and password protect, then sharing it. Next biggest threat what we have seen because of a pandemic is people are now working from home. Even your kids are having a homeschool. Not every family has the luxury of buying 5 laptops and 5 computers. I have 2 kids, wife and myself. I don't have 4 laptops. I have only 2. And I have to share my laptop with my kids so they can do schooling. Can you do that? Is it allowed? Your company will say no, but hey, I want my kids to study as well. So you are going to allow them. Please sit next to them and see what are they doing. Are they really studying or sharing your file and sending to everyone and whoever is asking them the detail? That's the biggest risk to the company, and CISOs are holding their head. I can't manage the security in that case. So you need to bring the security to the data or to the information where it is. You can't put the security at the end, in the edge, because now you are from home. Your security should be within the data, within your own laptop, within your own phone. You can't put the security control in my company firewall because I'm not in the company. Some of the basic things think, and I like the word Captain said, zero trust, right? I have a book coming on that. Maybe next year when we talk zero trust, I will share my copy of my book on that. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kudrati. This is really something that we have to really keep our mind all the time alert. So must be able to scan and to smell the scam. So this is really something that our life is going to be very busy all the time. So vigilant, stay vigilant. So how about the advice from Dr. Yuang?
Yes, okay. I think basically our last 2 panelists guests already cover as all. But from my perspective is we also need to pay attention to those social engineering attacks. So for example, if you get your Wi-Fi gone, right? So you get broken off your Wi-Fi, you get a technician to fix the Wi-Fi, but you don't know what he was doing there. Maybe he inject directly a malware there.
Yeah. So what are we going to do? Because if it's spoiled, because some of us are working in a very far area, not in the home country. Yeah. So are we not going to send our laptops or to the technicians? How is it?
Yeah. So this kind of thing, I just say we need to be careful. You need to be awareness that you cannot trust those technicians. They're trying to fix your Wi-Fi. Maybe they're from Singtel. I don't have defense for the Singtel. I just make an example. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know what they are doing on your Wi-Fi. Then this was linked to your working PC. Yeah, like Mr. Abbas said, in the past we are protected physically, protected inside the company.
Yeah.
So just beware that once your data leaked, you maybe think about, oh, maybe weeks ago I have fixed my Wi-Fi with a technician.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
Okay.
just awareness. Yeah.
Okay, so so the company technicians will do a cleaning to try to see whether you are affected by the virus or whatever spam. So just one question from this all the comment is, what about your staff that work in cyber cafes like Starbucks, Coffee Beans, and all that? You know, many of them love to enjoy a cup of coffee and cakes, you know, while working in the cyber cafes, you know, because now they can have all the freedoms. So what is your advice on this? Yeah.
Is it a question for me or anyone?
Yeah, anyone. Mr. Kudrati, maybe you can give some advice on this.
See, public Wi-Fi definitely is one of the biggest threat. The foundation advice is avoid using a public Wi-Fi or publicly available Wi-Fi, because you don't know if that public Wi-Fi which you are scanning on your phone to connect for the free internet is really the same Wi-Fi provided by the airport or by the Starbucks. You never know, because it's so easy to create a rogue access point with the same name. I can have a very small device which runs on my battery. Actually, I have a device to do that. As a part of my demonstration, I show it to them that I can just stood up a new Wi-Fi with the same access point name. You will think, oh, this is from the Changi airport or this is from the Starbucks. Let me go connect. As soon as you connect, it is the hacker's network. I can see everything, whatever you are typing on your laptop, maybe trying to access your office email address or trying to access your bank account. I'm looking at every keystroke, period. So avoid doing that. You can carry your own hotspot. You can avoid accessing the internet for a time being, or use your 4G, 5G if you have available. Use VPN. You know, those kind of things has to be followed up. That should be my number one advice.
Yeah, so that means no free meals, Mr. Kudrati?
And it is free, you are the commodity.
They will imitate the site like Singapore airport maybe, yeah, and then you will click in and there is no password usually, isn't it, the trend?
Yeah.
So be careful. I think I've seen some of this before, because usually they will come with the key locks, the password for those that authentic one. So for free one, so be careful everyone here. So I actually will not jump into our pre-arranged questions, because there are questions coming in. I think I would like to actually give the questions also. The question is, may I know how to protect ourselves if information has been sold? So these are after effects, you know, that means has been sold. So today we are talking about prevention a lot, to not to get into this situation. So if, let's say, I realize my information being sold, there are so many spam calls and spam emails, I know that definitely my information has been sold. So what can I do? So can I go for maybe Captain to advise first? What can we do if our information already leaked?
Okay. So the first thing I would recommend is that you have to make sure that if you are just using the password to access everything, you have to change all the passwords. That would be the first thing you should do, and also make sure that is the different password for different services. Quite a few person I know, they have very good, complex, strong password, but they use the same thing for same password for everything. So it's not such a good idea. Okay, and also usually when your information got sold, it will lead to the cyber scam. Okay, they will use your information to get more information. Okay, for example, they know about your phone number. In Thailand, if you know the phone number, then you might use it to add line, or you can look it up on some public website to see some more information about yourself, or your phone might be linked to other personal information. So it's inevitable that you will get social engineer and cyber scam. Okay, So another advice I would like to leave for all of us and the audience is that most of the scam will involve greed, fear, and love. They will use all three of these in combination to lure you. So whatever offer them that they have for you, if it's too good to be true, you will get rich tomorrow, then usually it is the scam. Okay. And fear, sometimes they will try to lead you that you are involved with some illegal activity. So you need to give them money so that they will stop prosecuting you or stop the police from arresting you. That's another trick they have is using fear. So whatever they try to make you scared, please stop and think that is it possible, or you just go directly to the police and check if it's real or not. But do not stay too long on the line when they call you, or don't be fooled by their emails or whatever. And the last thing is, in this day and age, since we always working from home, we we have some hunger for relationship. So the criminal will use love or romance scam. Okay, if you saw some nice looking guy and girl try to be your friend, please make sure that you do the checkup on them before you start communicating. Okay, yeah. Because with these three things, greed, fear, love, usually it will lead to disaster.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Captain. This is really true. This scammers is really smart because these three things are really our, hit straight to our soft point. Greed, fear, and love, passion. So I think during this pandemic time, many people out there are looking for love also, care. So be aware. Instead of getting love, you might get scam. So so we asked maybe Mr. Kurati, do you have any tips on this? If they already got, I saw that you have shared something. Have I been pawned? Yeah. So please.
So if you visit that website, Have I Been Pawned, it will you can identify how many times your password has been breached in different by different website. So I always share this website in any security awareness forum I am there, because every time we use same password for multiple account, right? I may have the same password on Facebook and I am using the same password for my company account, which is the number one guidance which the captain said, right? Keep it separate, all kind of password, because if Facebook password is compromised, that means now attacker can harvest that password from the leaked database of password, which you will find it on Have I Been Pawned, easy and free of charge. They can create something called password spray and spray that password against my company identity. And if I'm using the same password in my company, my identity will be compromised. They can get access to my information if I don't have a MFA. Multi-factor authentication will stop me from the password spray attack and whatever I'm sharing on a Have I Been Pawned. What can you do after the information is sold? Technically nothing. If it is sold in the internet, there are thousands and thousands of copies lying around everywhere. How many copies you'll go and delete? You cannot. So be vigilant in advance and keep yourself checking on Have I Been Pawned. Create an alert. So every time your password is compromised, you'll get an email from Have I Been Pawned, and you can immediately go and change the password and make sure you have a second factor authentication.
Yeah, sometimes it's so scary, to actually try to check also. Once we check, if we find out, then we will be havoc, So, I mean, that if since everyone here today is attending this event, means that you care about cybersecurity. So, Dr. Wang, what do you think? Before I jump into the next question, which is related to our training and skills, Dr. Yuan? Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I to be honest, I'm not good at managing my own password. I have a little bit stupid way, or how to say, layman way to maintain it. I was capture every password in one note, and where it is stored now in my PC.
Yeah, actually, it's very scary. I agree with you, you know. I forget about my password all the time. So how to have different accounts with different password, you know? Yeah, so Dr. Yuan, so you keep it there. So how, aren't you scared that people are going to hack into your laptop and after that everything gone?
Yeah, the smart way. I know the smart way is we have so-called single sign policy SSO. You can use the encrypted softwares where you can store all your password in. So once your PC get compromised, so your password is not lost. It's not like my layman, method we just store in a notebook. But I just like a little bit, sometimes also forgot that key password to encrypt my other password.
Oh my God.
my problem. Yeah. So just to share a bit, but the smart way, the safer way is to use those, you have a key password for all this, store your password software. So you can store your software safely inside that software.
Yeah. So I think these are some of the tips. We have no choice. We have to work harder our brain to protect ourselves. Multi-layer authentications and all that. So, okay, now there are some questions that I would like to pose. Is maybe to Mr. Kudrati, is lack of interest is included as one of the main challenges in awareness raising effort around the topic of cybersecurity among youth. So how do you think is the best approach to overcome this challenge?
Yeah, lack of interest or getting away from the main topic. These days, working from home for past 2 years, the attention span has gone this much. It used to be this much before, but now it's this much. You keep even while I'm on the call, I keep looking at my phone. I'm a culprit of that as well. Forget the youth. I can't go and tell my son stop, focus on the teacher what she is teaching you on the online school and not look at your phone. We ourselves are culprit. Blame it to the digital world, right? So we really need to find and be more creative how we engage our youth in security awareness. And I like to say that we should be making it more of a gamification on that. More participation. You just can't tell them, hey, here is a PowerPoint, go to the training, or here is an online video, go look at it and learn. If they will play the video and they will be chatting on a Snapchat.
True.
It will tick my compliance box. Yes, I have given training to my staff and my youth. They have done the training, but how much did they absorb? How much did they learn out of it? Zero. Right? So we need to think creativity. For example, I'll give you a good example. Make it a gameplay, and I call it a cyber war game, right? Create a scenario that, okay, let's participate in a fake hacking incident, and let's see. In a 1 minute you will receive a fake phishing email. Let's see how many people click it, without telling them that you have sent a fake email. And you see how many people have really clicked on the email, and then you give them a target message that, hey, this was a test message from your IT department. You have clicked on this email. Looks like you don't know how to identify a phish email. Here is a short video or a training or tips on how to identify a phish email. Oh, they will immediately get shocked. Oh my goodness, I didn't focus on it because I'm so busy. I'm getting hundreds of email, call, SMS. I receive an email, I click on it. I don't even think about it. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. They want to, but they are overwhelmed.
Our biological nature has changed.
Yes.
Yeah, our focus.
So we need to keep them reminding on that. Be more creative. Give them participate. Make it like a gamification rather than a static audio or a video kind of a message. Make it a gameplay. They can participate and they can learn out of it.
That is a very good suggestions, Mr. Kudrati, because it will apply to our next programs. Because today we are launching our cybersecurity training, upskilling. So this is very important. At least the trainer later can think about how, to be more interactive instead of sending me a stack of very good reports, which I think we are not going to read. So so maybe I can also get Dr. Iwang to share, because Dr. Iwang, you have done so many society campaigns. So how do you actually impact the interest, raise the interest? Yeah.
I really agree, totally agree with Mr. Kuzati just now mentioned those points. Actually, the hands-on and interaction is quite important. I'm used to teach cryptography courses, just tell them how the AES was functioning. It won't work. But once you put the thing into really hands-on, tell them, oh, you can use the SSL, then in the libraries, you can call this API, you can do this and that, people getting more interesting. Then the other side is we can think about capture the flag, hackathon activities, so that the people has a little bit competition and parallel to see, oh, there might be a prize for me to get it. Maybe the price is a very small token. I think capture the flag is a good idea. Then also we can get a little bit hackathon trainings. We have a trainer with the hackathon. I tell you how you really prepared before you go to hackathon. But the topic can be focused on cybersecurity content. This kind of way can be more attractive. I agree with this virtual setup. It's quite difficult. I totally agree. In the past, we have physical trainings, we have classroom training, so the trainer can really show you, oh, I'm trying to break the JTAG, I'm trying to break the UART connection lines, but now it's even difficult. Yeah, so we need to have more like brainstorms and also to see how we put the things in virtual and keep the people safer and healthy while put their interest more. Yeah.
Thank you. I think I also would like to hear from Captain. Captain, from all your experience, Captain, do you think how to make it more interesting, the learning process?
Okay. Regarding the gamification, I do agree that it will make the event more engaging. And what we have been using after the awareness training for even for executive and also for younger generation, we will be using Kahoot. Kahoot is one very good tool. It's very engaging. People can join in and do a quiz and compare themselves with the others. And at the end, we have some small token of or small prize to give to the top 3 of the students, so that it will be more fun and keep them engaging since the beginning. You can provide instruction and say that at the end we're going to play some game. You get more interest, and the better the price, then the more interest you gain. Okay. And also another useful information to provide instruction is that people want to hear the real story, the use case from real world. Okay, you can discuss whatever on the news and use it as the basis for the instruction you want to give. Like, for example, for some incident, my favorite one is when the case for AshleyMedicine.com, it got compromised. You can tell a good story from that and hold their attention. That it's not some hack website, but it could cause someone to kill themselves to get people interest. Okay, or the case of ransomware in Germany, when somebody died because of ransomware. Those kind of situation could help in leading the conversation or lead to the lesson that you want to convey in your lesson plan.
Yeah, thank you so much for the tips. I think that I fully agree that first is to have interactive sessions, gamifications, make it more interesting, have some prize. And secondly, also to have use case or some cases to be shared with public, more public interest cases. Because right now, I think there are some countries like Malaysia and Singapore, government has actually created some programs in the TV show on how youth actually come forward and talk about how they were scammed. So these are some of the examples on how to instill some interest make people more interested to learn more about how to protect themselves. So I think because of the time, I have one more questions for all the speakers. Is on the youth, about the underprivileged youth. Not all the youth have the same privilege to access to training and education here. So in this regard, what do you think are the best way to upskill or train the underserved youth in cybersecurity? Because they can't access to the infrastructures and all that. So may I invite Mr. Kudrati to give your view on this and suggestions?
Sure. Okay. See, internet has become like a basic necessity, right? Like food, air, water, and food and clothing and housing. Internet is like you can't live without. Anyone you ask, even if I ask my kid, what is the one thing you need when we go to the holidays? He said, I need the Wi-Fi. Forget about the sightseeing, forget about the swimming activity. I need Wi-Fi in the hotel. That's the number one thing they're asking.
Yeah.
So either it's a privileged kid or underprivileged kid, if making available the internet connectivity available is very, very important.
Mr. Kudrati, they won't go to place without Wi-Fi now.
Wi-Fi, yeah, absolutely.
If the auntie house has no Wi-Fi, they're not going.
Yes, absolutely. First thing they go to somebody's house, uncle, can I have your Wi-Fi password? It's like that. Anyway, so that's the number one thing, right? Having that internet, make it easy for everyone and available for everyone. That's the number one thing, because once they get connected, of course, they will get the free information, but also they will get lots of risk. They will be targeted on the attack as well. It's a double-edged sword, right? Secondly, you need to make the training available for free. Like I gave you example, learn.microsoft.com. Anybody can go to that website and go and start learning about security and cybersecurity. Third thing I would say, start the cybersecurity right from the kindergarten. Right when they are learning ABCD, you start teaching them ABCD of internet as well. A for Apple, B for BlackBerry, C for Corona, not Corona, but something else. Right? Start from there itself. ABCD from kindergarten as well. C for computers, like that. Control C, Control V. Yeah. So they have to learn it at a very young age, and we are seeing that in Australia. My kids who are in grade 1 and 2. They have been given awareness from that time itself, because they have been exposed to iPad. Rather than pen and pencil, they have been asked to buy an iPad and come to school with an iPad, which brings another set of risks. So you need to bring it at the early age, make it for everyone. Cybersecurity is for everyone. Cybersecurity, everyone is responsible. Either you are learning medicine, or you are learning engineering, or you are learning handicraft. Cybersecurity subject should be mandatory for everyone. Start from there itself. I'll stop it there.
This is very good. How about Captain? Your last advice? For
okay.
the serve youth.
Okay. Okay. I do agree that e-learning or online platform would be very useful for less fortunate, but we have to make it interesting. For example, in Thailand, you can apply for university and college level when you collect the experience. For example, you can get extracurricular activities, and also you can do the online learning. But in order to draw more crowd of the student or younger people, we need to provide certification that they have passed these courses, or maybe have some scholarship to draw them in so that they can better their life, to make it more interesting. Okay, because just to have the content or the courses is not enough. You have to provide some way to some incentive to make it interesting, and then after that they can learn more and have a better chance in life, and they can improve themselves or their way of living after they get better education. I think that's the way to go, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Thank you, Captain. I think this is really important to have also scholarships and infrastructure support for the underprivileged youth, so that they can access to learning platform, which is e-learning. So, Dr. Ivan?
Yes, this is a really good questions. Actually, what I'm currently doing with the guest lecturer with Singapore Institute Technology, it is also, we're trying to embed the cybersecurity mindset into their daily courses, where that courses might not fully for cybersecurity. Because for full cybersecurity, I do agree, you can go get a diploma, degree, certifications from somewhere. But how about those, like, they want to know something, maybe in a high level, but not that in deep. So we should think about maybe give them a chances or door opening or eye opening for this kind of aspect from cybersecurity, what it looks like. Maybe in the future, they will turn their major from, get the chances to their major from one subject to cybersecurity in the future. So that's my thoughts. But definitely to really broadcast this kind of work or mindset awareness, we need also public sectors, government, and also more trainers to work hand in hand to implement it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all the speakers. I think we have come to our end of our discussion forum. It has been a very good sharing sessions, very practical, and something that everyone can learn and upgrade their skills today in terms of knowledge on cybersecurity. So I would like to have a short things to bring back for everyone. Please be always vigilant, when you are connected. So as what has been mentioned by the speakers, stay protected while connected. This is really I like it, the mantra. Okay, so and then also for all other youth, please grab the opportunity that we are launching today, the programs with Microsoft. Start your journey on learning on cybersecurity, and like what some of the speakers have shared, the future is very big and open. Opportunities is there, not only protecting your the cyber world, but it can also be your career path in this line. So I will actually end the sessions and pass back the floor to the MC. Yeah. So see you guys again, and stay safe in the cyber world.
Thank you, Dr. Yang, and our speakers today for the enlightenment on the importance of equipping ourselves with knowledge on cybersecurity and also providing our ASEAN youth with opportunities for cybersecurity skilling. I'm sure that all of us also learned a lot about cybersecurity, cyber attacks, as well as the efforts we can partake to mitigate this risk and create a safe cyberspace in the Asian region. Reflecting on this, ASEAN Foundation, with the support from Microsoft, will implement the ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program. This program aims to raise awareness on cybersecurity issues in ASEAN, to help the ASEAN community to become literate on cybersecurity, and to eventually help in combating cybercrimes in the region. To have a better understanding of the ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program, let's take a look at this video. I hope all of you enjoy our video. Now, we are entering an exciting segment in which all of you can participate on our cybersecurity quiz. It's time to test how much you've learned in the past hour. This quiz can also be a chance for you to assess your basic knowledge on cybersecurity and hopefully can also encourage you to enhance your cybersecurity literacy to help you build a stronger defense in preventing cyber attacks. This quiz will be conducted interactively by using Mentimeter. For those of you who are not familiar with Mentimeter, I will give a little explanation about this. To participate, please go to www.menti.com. It is MENTI.com. After that, you will see a screen asking you to enter the participation code. You can see the code in our webinar screen in Microsoft Teams. The code is 908162274. After inputting the code, you will need to input your name, and that's it. You're ready. If you're already connected, you will see your profile image on the presenter screen, like what you are seeing right now. And now we are going to wait for more people to join. But later, after we start the quiz, you will see the question on the screen, and you may provide a response by clicking the answer on the device you are using to join this Mentimeter. So for now, please go to www.menti.com, enter the node, and enter your name. For those of you who have reached that step, please wait for a moment as we are waiting for more people to join before we start the quiz. Again, let me remind you that you will see the question on the webinar screen and you need to respond by clicking the right answers on the device you are using to join the Mentimeter. For example, if you are joining this webinar from a laptop or a computer device and you join the Mentimeter from a mobile phone, then you will see the question in your laptop and you need to answer by using your phone. For those of you who haven't joined, please go to menti.com, enter the code 90816274, and enter your name. We are going to start the quiz in a moment. Okay, I think we have enough people joining. Without further ado, let's start the quiz now. We will begin with the question number 1. I reuse the same password for A, all of my online accounts, B, most of my online accounts, C, some of my online accounts, or D, I never use the same password more than once. I will repeat the question one more time. Question number 1, I reuse the same password for A, all of my online accounts, B, most of my online accounts, C, some of my online accounts, or D, I never use the same password more than once. You have around 7 more seconds to think and answer. Time is almost up. Okay, now time's up. Let's see the correct answer. Is the option D. It is a best practice to never use the same password more than once. Using the same password for different accounts creates an opportunity for hackers. In the case of a breach, where one of your login credentials is discovered and exploited, hackers will often attempt to use that same password to gain access to other online accounts. If we reuse a password and it becomes compromised, it can result in a disastrous domino effect with the infiltration and takeover of multiple personal accounts. Thus, it's a best practice to never use the same password more than once. Now, let's move on to the question number 2. The question is, my password contains A, personal information such as birth date, graduation year, pet name, etc. B, dictionary words or phrases. C, the same information as my other passwords but in different sequence. Or D, randomized sequence of numbers, letters, and symbols. I will repeat the question one more time. Question number 2. My password contains. We have option E, First, A, personal information such as birth date, graduation year, pet name, etc. Option B, dictionary words or phrases. C, the same information as my other passwords but in different sequence. Or D, randomized sequence of numbers, letters, and symbols. Time is up. Let's see the correct answer. It's the answer D. Our password should contain randomized sequence of numbers, letters, and symbols. People tend to use common words or phrases in their password because it's easy to remember. This makes sense from a user's standpoint, but while this practice helps us remember our password, it also makes them easy to crack. Some attackers conduct research on their targets, discovering personal information like birth dates and names. This often improves a hacker's ability to predict their target's password because many people often include such information in their passwords. On the other hand, random character sequences are incredibly difficult for a hacker to crack, even with the help of a computer. Thus, it is one of the strongest types of password. Now, let's move on to our next question. The question number 3. I save my password in a web browser. Option A, always. Option B, sometimes. Or C, never. I will repeat the question one more time. Question number 3. I save my password in a web browser. You can choose option A if you always save your password in a web browser, or option B, or you sometimes save your password in a web browser, or C, if you never save your password in a web browser. You have around 4 more seconds to think and answer. Now time's up. Let's see the correct answer. Is the answer C, never. It's a best practice to never save our password in a web browser. It may be convenient for us to save our username and password in a web browser rather than retyping it. However, it's not secure. By saving our credentials in a web browser, we are exposing this information to someone else who might access or hack our computer, either remotely or physically. Additionally, if our device is lost or stolen, browsers like Firefox, Safari, and Internet Explorer offer no protection if a hacker gets a hold of our physical device and gets past the lock screen. Now let's move on to our next question. The question number 4. The question is, I use the following types of two-factor authentication when logging into my accounts. A, smart card, RSA key, phone, or RFID badge. B, a password, PIN number, or a security question. C, biometric authentication like a fingerprint scan or facial recognition. Or D, what is a two-factor authentication? I will repeat the question one more time. Question number 4 out of 5. I use the following types of two-factor authentication when logging into my accounts. A, smart card, RSA key, phone, or RFID badge. B, a password, PIN number, or a security question. C, biometric authentication like a fingerprint scan or facial recognition. D, what is a two-factor authentication? Time is up. Let's see the correct answer. We have 3 correct answers for this question. It's A, B, and C. So, when logging into our accounts, it is a best practice to use two-factor authentication of any types. Either it's a smart card, a PIN number, a security question, a fingerprint scan, or any other types of two-factor authentication mentioned in the question. And for those of you who answered D, or might be thinking to answer the option D before, two-factor or multi-factor authentication is the use of multiple modes of identification layered together in order to confirm the identity of the person trying to access the account. This way, if one factor becomes compromised, it wouldn't threaten the security of the entire account. Now, let's move on to our last question. The question number 5. The question is, when I receive an email with a link or document attached, A, I click on the link or download the document immediately. B. I verify the sender's email domain to ensure it is legitimate. C. I examine the link first to identify suspicious words and misspellings. Or D. I verify and examine. I will repeat the question one more time. Question number 5, our last question. When I receive an email with a link or document attached, I click on the link or download the document immediately for option A. B. I verify the sender's email domain to ensure it is legitimate. C. I examine the link first to identify suspicious words and misspellings. Or D. I verify and examine. The answer C and D both combined. Time is up now. Let's see the correct answer. It's answer D, to verify and examine. So when we receive an email with a link or document attached, we should not click the link or download the document immediately. This is important because attacker may launch a spoofing and phishing attacks, which can result in malware downloaded into our computer or network or deceiving us into providing sensitive information. We might get an email that appears to be from our friend, but it's actually from an attacker. Thus, it is important to first verify the sender's email domain to ensure it is legitimate, and then we should examine the link or document name to identify any suspicious words and misspellings. Option B and C alone is not correct because it's not enough. It's a best practice to do both, to verify and examine. We should not open suspicious files or questionable links until we verify the legitimacy of the email. Alright, that was the last question, and it marks the end of our interactive cybersecurity quiz. Thank you everyone for your participation, and we hope that this simple quiz will encourage you to further expand your knowledge on cybersecurity. Before we reach the end of the event, I would like to once again remind you that the call for applications for local NGO or CSO partners is now open. Selected partners will assist the ASEAN Foundation in implementing the ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program by organizing the training of trainers and implementing the empowerment sessions targeting the underserved youth across the region. The training of trainers aims to target at least 560 participants from 7 ASEAN member states, while the empowerment sessions aim to target 30,000 beneficiaries. To submit your applications and to find out more information about this, you may scan the QR code provided in the screen, or you may type the link into your internet browser by your own. And if you're still considering it, but you might not want to miss this opportunity, you may screenshot the webinar screen now, or you may later come back and replay our live stream on ASEAN Foundation Facebook and YouTube channels. You can also find the related information on ASEAN Foundation social media channels. I will give you a little bit more time to scan the QR code, write down the link, or maybe screenshot the webinar screen. I will start the countdown now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're closing the poster screen now. But if you're interested, please go to ASEAN Foundation social media channels to find the related information. Now, we finally have reached the end of the launch event of ASEAN Cybersecurity Skilling Program. We would like to convey our sincere gratitude for all of our speakers, guests, and participants for joining this event. We hope that our discussions today have been meaningful for everyone. I would also like to conclude by announcing that we have an event evaluation survey. You will need to fill out this survey to be able to claim your attendance certificate. At the end of the event, you will see a barcode and a link directing to the survey page. We kindly request your participation as your responses are important for us to better understand your experience at today's event and for making necessary improvements for similar events in the future. So please fill out the survey questions. I wish you all good afternoon, stay safe, and thank you.